one central idea that has made possible all that we have today. And that is that only the individual exists. Nothing else exists. All consciousness is in the individual. Sure, there's a table, but an individual made the table. And everything outside of ourselves and nature, that is natural resources with which we work, nothing exists. Even the natural resources don't exist unless we exist. Sure, there can be a Masaba rain, but if there's nobody who wants iron, it doesn't exist. That has been the keystone of the Judeo-Christian tradition, that only the individual exists, or as the Bible puts it, every hair in your head is counted. In other words, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is recorded. When we finally got around to accepting that idea that the individual is the center of of the whole universe, and that if we let him alone, he'll do things, then we got to making things. The individual found that he had unlimited desires. He made himself, instead of sticking to a sailboat, he made himself a steamboat. Now he's making an atom bomb boat, an atomic energy boat. Instead of living in a hut, he suddenly finds he needs a palace. He even finds he has to have a shower bath, which he got along very well without for many centuries. So if you let the individual alone, he suddenly finds that he's a lot of pent-up desires, which he goes to work and satisfy. That is the keystone of our civilization, the idea that the individual is the center of the universe. He is the all in all of existence. That idea is being challenged today. The planner challenges it. The socialist surely challenges it. The communist denies it. The idea that the individual is the whole thing and the only thing is being replaced by the idea that the individual is only an accessory to the machine, replaceable part. If we lose that idea of the primacy of the individual, then we have lost our civilization. And that is what I am afraid is in the cards. The war will accelerate. The need of getting along on less will be the first indication of a shrinkage. Finally, the feeling that we are not primary, that we are all accessories of a machine called the state or society, and that we are dispensable or expendable things, will become the new tradition. We will accept it. I am not, I think, a prophet of doom. I think I'm a good observer. I see it in the kids today. I see that the kids, when we play football, when I was playing football, we wanted to play football because we wanted football. Now, does the school want a team? What are the conditions under which the school wants a football team? The classroom courses are so shaped that the individual must begin to think of himself not as the primary element in the group, but as one of many elements in the group. Your school courses are revolving around the idea of the group rather than the individual. Or if, for instance, you get the case of where the children are advanced regardless of their proficiency because they've got to keep up with the age group. All the 10-year-olds together, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, regardless of individual efficiency or proficiency, resulting, of course, in the lowering of the standards so that the least capable minds will be able to keep up with the class group. That idea of that the individual does no longer count, that the group counts, will be hastened by the danger of the destruction of our nation. That will be a real reason for eliminating the individual and making him part of the structure of the mass. And he'll get to think that way. When he does get to think that way, then I submit you have the end of the Judeo-Christian doctrine of individualism. That the individual is the only thing that counts. Returning then to my first thought, that there are natural laws in economics. We've got to tie it up. If there are natural laws in economics, then the only way that we can rise to a higher civilization is to learn those laws and to so shape our lives that we run with the laws and not against them. If you want to be a better engineer, you learn the eternal principles, if you don't want to call them laws, that prevail in engineering, and you build an engine according to those principles and not contrary to the principles, because you know that the machine is going to collapse. Our civilization, if it's going to collapse, is going to collapse because we are trying to build a civilization based upon the principle that the unit, rather than the individual, is important. We are denying natural law in social affairs as we are denying them in political affairs. When you get such a monstrosity as the Morgenthau Plan, which was nothing but an attempt to reshape a civilization, then you see how far we have gone. We are trying to shape societies. We are trying to deny that there are natural laws governing social integration. That's why what you have been studying is more important than you may have realized to this time. It is not that you will be able to buy stocks on the market with more wisdom, although it will if you follow your teaching. It is not that you'll be able to run your business better, although it will if you follow what you've learned. It is more important that you get the idea that there are natural laws in the economic and social field, and that if we don't run them, we're going to have the same consequences as when we try to defy the law of gravitation and step off the roof of a high building.